Welcome to the Eye on Annapolis Local Business Spotlight. There are thousands of locally owned businesses in the area, some small and some large. Some you may know and others you don't. But one thing they all have in common is a great story, and we want to share it with you. Join us every Saturday as we talk to the founders, the owners, and the managers of local businesses you have come to know and love, and those you will come to know and love. Now here's your host, John Frenay, with this week's Local Business Spotlight.
Joining us on the phone today from sunny Florida is Patti DiMicelli, who is the proprietor of Tobias and Company, which is a fairly new company to me. And I'm ashamed to say that I hadn't discovered this earlier, but I did discover it at Christmas when I got an awesome gift. How are you, Patti?
I'm doing really well, John.
Good. Well, you are in sunny Florida, which is better than chilly and gray Maryland right now, and that's a good thing. But you're going to be coming back here in April, I think you told me, right?
Yes, I am. Yes.
Well, that's cool. Well, let's talk a little bit about Tobias and Company. And the website is, just as it sounds, Tobias and Company. And you manufacture or design and supply and artistic prints, scarves, cards, ties, which is what I have, pillows, and all sorts of things that are sort of focused around different areas, I would say. You've got Annapolis, the Naval Academy, and everything else. So tell us a little bit about Tobias and Company. Where did it start, and how did you get here?
Well, Tobias and Company is named after my son, Tobias/Toby, and he's in the Navy. And it got me thinking, he's in the Navy, and I love the Navy and the Naval Academy, and I was there in Annapolis. So I was working with the public information office there in the yard, and they were extremely gracious and allowed me to take photographs of all of the creatures, the gargoyles and neat statues and things that were in the outside of the buildings. So I have creatures of the U.S. Naval Academy doors and windows, and I put them onto silk satin pillow covers and silk satin ties and scarves. And so I do all the artwork. And I did try to find a local place to manufacture the scarves, but unfortunately I couldn't find one. And then I have Stout Gear, Lori Stout and Alex. They take care of fulfillment for us. So we have a wonderful Naval Academy collection, but we also have the Knockers of Annapolis, the door knockers in the historic district. It's really fun and colorful. I really love door knockers.
That's what I got for Christmas. That was my girlfriend had gotten me the Knockers of Annapolis for ties and said, hey, now you can see all the knockers in Annapolis you want without getting in trouble. Which was, she's not wrong.
Playful.
So she's not wrong. But that is so fun. I mean, and for those, I mean, we're laughing about it, but for those that aren't aware, go to Tobias and Company and check them out. But you've gone to some of these unique doors and taken pictures of their door knockers.
Yes. I'm originally from California. I was born in LA. And so when I came to Annapolis, gosh, I don't know, maybe 30 or so years ago, I was fascinated. It reminded me of downtown Disneyland. It was very historic. I mean, 1639, come on. Mm-hmm. So I really enjoy the history of Annapolis. To me, that's my home because there's so many people in Annapolis that I absolutely love. I really enjoy Annapolis very, very much.
Well, how did you get into this? I mean, are you an artist by birth, by genetics, or how did you get into deciding to photograph what you photographed and put together, these goods?
Well, I believe that each of us, every human being, is born an artist. We're all born creative, and I think it's just a matter of finding the media or whatever the tool or paintbrush that excites you and brings out your creativity. So I've got a lot of ideas, and my ideas keep swirling around in my head, and I'm blessed to have God-given talents and skills and tools to put some of these ideas down on paper and silk and various things. When I started painting silk, Rebecca Pearson, who's not far from me here in Florida now, she taught me how to paint silk, and I was so excited when my paintbrush hit the silk. And I also worked with the bereaved parents of the USA, the Anne Arundel County chapter. I was facilitating some first-timers or parents whose children had just passed. And I just learned to paint silk. And I thought, what if I could paint a silk scarf that would elevate the mothers? They could feel their loved one, and it would have inspirational quotes all over it. And so I started doing that, and my hand couldn't bear the amount of scarves that I was hand painting. So I took pictures of angels all over the world in Annapolis and put them on silk scarves that we donate to the bereaved and the dying.
Wow, that's now what brought you into that? I know that you've written a book called Embrace the Angel.
Yes.
And what happened to bring you into and putting angels on scarves and clothing and to write the book?
Well, my daughter Amber, she died on my 27th birthday in October 30th, 1980. And her life and death was absolutely extraordinary in so many ways. I documented that. And she taught me a lot. And one of the things she taught me when she was dying, Bernie Siegel, who's an excellent surgeon, and he was her doctor, he helped us help her cross over. And one of the things that I did is I got this big, gigantic gold key to give to Amber so that when she felt she was dying, she would ask for the key, and then this way she could open the golden gates to heaven. And it was that symbolism, that tying this world with the next, that made me realize that people who are left behind need something to cling to, if you will, to remind them of their loved ones. I actually have the key here on my bedstand in the rig. So we have a beautiful Embrace the Angel pillow cover, and I collected 99 drawings of angels from kids all over the world. And so we donate an Embrace the Angel scarf, tie, or pillow cover to a bereaved mom or dad or dying child. And Tobias and Company actually allows us to do that. So I'm very, very, very blessed.
Wow. Well, that's such a horrible story, and I'm terribly sorry for your loss. But what a beautiful story, and the key, and that's chilling and beautiful all at once.
Well, you know what chills are, John? You know what goosebumps are?
No.
Goosebumps are the other side reminding us that they're there. That's how they come through our body, and they just remind us that they're there.
Very nice. That's a really nice thought. What brought you to Annapolis from L.A.? Usually people go the other way.
I know. I actually went to Milford, Connecticut, and I fell in love with Gary, and he had a boat, and we completely emptied out that boat, rebuilt it, and then fell in love with another boat, and we got that all squared away. We were actually headed to the Virgin Islands to live. We were living aboard full time, and when we were about to make the 13-day crossing from Beaufort, North Carolina to St. Thomas, Gary checked the engine oil and found water in it. So we had to stay there in Beaufort for 3 months, and he came up here to Annapolis to work in a wood shop, and we expended all of our money and ended up taking a right to Annapolis instead of a left to Florida. And I ended up chopping my way on the bowsprit in January through the harbor in Annapolis to get to City Dock to live aboard there for the winter. And then we were in Annapolis ever since. So,
there are worse places to be honest with you. I mean, Annapolis is such a beautiful town, and as I'm finding that I'm talking to different people that own different businesses, and as I meet more people every day that I go out, I meet somebody new, it seems. It's just such a great town. I mean, the people are wonderful. They're embracing. There's so many different stories that everybody has that's just absolutely phenomenal. And I think I think we're kind of lucky to have had you chop your way through the harbor to get to City Dock and hang out here for 30 years.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm the fortunate one because honestly, I've been in a lot of different places, and Annapolis, the people of Annapolis are absolutely extraordinary. I have a beloved circle of angels in Annapolis especially, but all over the world. But that's the headquarters for my circle of angels is there in Annapolis.
Now, what is a circle of angels? Is that just a support people that
exactly
that real tight support people for you?
Yes, it's people that I meet as I travel through life that are supportive and vice versa. We love each other. We know that we have each other's back. And, it's like that round of applause that everybody needs when they're falling down and their knees are skinned. You know, you just know that if you fall back, someone will catch you. So, yeah, that's my circle of angels.
I think I know the answer to this, but these are these lifelong friends that have been super long-term friends?
For the most part, yeah. I mean, I've known people, and again, they're in different places around the world for, most of my life. I'm 67 now. So, yeah, for a good long time. And I love nurturing as best I can and treasuring those friendships because they are my chosen family.
That's really neat. I thought you were going to say that it didn't mean they didn't have to be long-term friends, that somebody might come into your life and you realize that they deserve a spot in your life just because it's that person or something. But I misread that. But that's pretty neat. And I guess that, since, thank gosh, we've got social media. I mean, I love and hate social media but you've been able to reconnect. I mean, you certainly, I know I have with like some of my high school friends and prior. I mean, we haven't seen each other, but we're still touching base, and we can say happy birthday and converse on Facebook and talk on the phone every now and then, which I think is just a technology that has, is just absolutely wonderful for people to connect the world, because the world really is very connected.
Oh, I totally agree with you. Yeah, it's been really fun because through a series of events and such, I ended up taking these little cards, and there's an angel factory, we call them, in Danforth. It's Danforth Pewter in Middlebury, Vermont. They make these coins, and there's 5 words on the back of these pewter coins that are attached to these cards. So what I do is I travel through life. I say to folks in the grocery store or wherever it might be, I'm a pebble thrower in the still pond of life, and these are my pebbles. And I offer this beautiful organza bag full of these coins on cards, and they take one, and I say, take another one for someone that you love. They take another, and then I say, peel off the back, and there's a special word for you. And there's 5 of them. There's hope, faith, peace, courage, and love. And it's been fantastic. I've handed out thousands of these coins as I travel, and it has changed lives, these little tiny pebbles. So, those are my circle of angels as well.
So you're that crazy lady that comes up to somebody in the supermarket.
Hey, I'll take that as a compliment.
Well, yeah. I mean, but this is actually Paul Gillespie, who's a photographer for the Capitol. Recently had something very similar. He was going out to shoot something, and there was I think it was a COVID line to get in, and somebody had handed him a plastic cross, not knowing whether the guy is Christian or Jewish or whatever, and just said, I'm the cross man, and this is, just because I want you to be embraced by God. And it was just such a nice gesture. I mean, it was just, it was the crazy cross guy coming up to you outside of the parking lot. But I mean, it made such a, it was a moment for him, and to be able to do that. And I think, what you're doing very similarly is just, wow. I mean, initially, if you came up to me in a supermarket, I'd be like, okay, where's this going? Where's this going? And I would leave totally blown away.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, especially with COVID now, I'm a hugger and an embracer, but now we cannot do that. But you can read someone's soul in their eyes, and usually they'll look at me. I can read their soul. It's almost like, oh, what is she doing? Why is she doing this? Is she selling something? Is this religious? I mean, you see all these questions, but in the end, they trust me because they trust themselves. And that's a beautiful thing. I mean, to be trusted by a complete stranger. Wow.
That's powerful. That's powerful. Yeah. And again, and I would say that, as you said, you can see the people's soul through their eyes. I mean, I think that people would probably take a look at you and realize, okay, initially there's a crazy lady coming up to me, and then you realize it's like, okay, this is maybe this is not a danger anyhow.
Yes.
Let's see where this goes. And I think that's a great. Man, I wish I had an experience like that in the supermarket.
Well, John, I'll seek you out next time.
I would embrace that. That would be awesome. But
the funniest thing is that my life has been pretty extraordinary. But when I wrote Embrace the Angel, when I did the research and all that sort of stuff, I looked at my birth certificate and I was born in the City of Angels at the Queen of Angels Hospital. And I thought, wow, that's pretty powerful. I mean, I'm not a queen and I'm not an angel for sure, but I mean, I'm a human being. But yeah, it's been pretty interesting. The whole thought of, having guardian angels in our lives is amazing.
Yeah, that's man, you're okay. So you're tying a lot of things together for me, between the goosebumps, the chills, and your book, Embrace the Angel, as well as the passing of your daughter. What a powerful story! What a powerful and what a great way that you've been able to continue her legacy and the good that she's done for the world by really probably making you grow more than
much
you ever could have made her grow.
Yeah, if people go to embracetheangel.com, you can get a free ebook. One of the things I promised never to do was to profit from Amber's life and death. And so I just freely give it, and I give the coins, and, it doesn't come from me anyway. So it's been a blessed thing. And we're starting a YouTube channel, which is so exciting and fun. I did a great intro with Sophie Handel, who's an amazing filmmaker. So I did a 2-minute intro, and then I worked on a nickel tour of the rig that I just uploaded to YouTube. If you go to YouTube and go to Embrace the Angel, you can find it there. And working on another one with her. And it's just been a fun project to be able to connect.
Okay, you mentioned rig. What are we talking about here?
It's
are you a trucker in your spare time?
Well, kind of. I have a Ford F-250 Lariat, and when I saw that truck that was attached to what I call Angelina, my 28-foot Grand Design fifth wheel, when I bought the fifth wheel, and then I wasn't even sure I could do this thing, but when I went to go pick her up, Larry, I call him Larry, my Lariat, he was attached, and he's a gentle giant. He's a gigantic thing, but I just love just the fact that, I can do this thing. I'm scared sometimes for sure. But I also realize that I'm human, as we all are. And if I need help, I'll ask for it. But it's been interesting hitching and unhitching and hitching and unhitching and putting everything away and going down the road. And I actually wrote on the back of the window as I did that 1,000-mile journey towards the sun from Annapolis to Florida. I wrote in big letters, "Feeding the Dream." And then I put embracetheangel.com beneath it. But it was so cool to drive down 95 knowing that people were looking at this thing and hopefully planting a seed of, maybe they turned to their sweetheart and said, "Honey, let's feed our dream now."
What made you decide to do this? I mean, you pretty much upended your life, and I mean, you've got a story of upending your lives, it seems, but it's we come in here on a boat, we stay, we're hoping to go to the Virgin Islands, but what made you decide to upend your life here in Annapolis after so many years and buy a fifth wheel and a pickup truck and head on the road?
Well, I was married for the third time, and it was a pretty traumatic marriage, and I ended the marriage. I sold my sticks and bricks, got divorced, and said, okay, now what? I used to be a professional organizer there in Annapolis, so I helped other people downsize, and so I did for myself what I have done for others, and said, I need to unload my stuff. And I did. So whatever didn't fit in a 10 by 10, I sold or gave away, gave to friends and such, and decided to simplify. I really loved living aboard, and this is perfect for me. It's got 9-foot ceilings. It's got a slide out. It's It's lovely. It's new. It's just perfect for me. And it just has helped me to simplify my life and understand what really matters in it.
Well, it's funny. You go through different periods of your life when you realize that the material things don't matter. And I've done it, and everybody will go through it at one point at a different point in their time. And at one point in my life, it was like, oh, we've got to have the house with the white picket fence and it was right. two and a half kids or 2.5 dogs. I don't know what it, whatever somebody told us that we had to have, and portray this perfect life and everything else. And quite honestly, I've grown out of that. People have told me, don't worry about cleaning the house. It's much better to have the love of friendship there in a pile of dust than it is to live in a sterile environment wondering where your friends are.
Yeah.
And, the material things are really inconsequential when you think about it. And certainly, unfortunately, it usually takes some sort of a calamity to make people realize that. A fire, an accident, a death, or something like that. It says, this is, whatever we're focusing on is not, it's not the goal. It's not what we need to be focusing on, and it refocuses. So I laud you for that. I think that's awesome that you've decided to uproot and head south and escape the Annapolis winters. But you do come back, right?
I do. Yes, I definitely do. I'm hoping to stay until it gets cold again and maybe head west. My son Toby and his wife Kimberly they're stationed in Japan right now, and they should be going back to Washington State. So I'm hoping that I can take my lovely Angelina and head up the West Coast and see some of my lovely friends in California and see my son and his wife.
That'd be fantastic. And you've always got a place to lay your head. You save a bunch on hotels.
Exactly. I mean, it's very, very, very nice. Well, it took the divorce, but the divorce made me realize what matters in life. And it's being at the side of those who are standing at the threshold between life and death. So I became a life coach. And then a week later, I went for training to become an end-of-life doula. And going through life and standing at the threshold with people, that's what matters. And these beautiful Embrace the Angels scarves and ties and pillows, to be able to gift those to their families that are left behind or those that are crossing over. I donated a set to someone down here in Florida through YouTube, one of the YouTubers. And it was such a beautiful story. She sent me this email that said she gave it to her friend who works for hospice. It was the Embrace the Angel pillow with all the kids' drawings on it. And it was a 5-year-old little girl whose mother, who was 29, was dying of cancer. And so this little girl got this pillow, and she crawled into bed with the mother and the pillow. And so when her mother dies, she will have this. And it brought tears to my eyes because that's exactly what I was looking for. It was the key to heaven that Amber had. So it's just for me, it's why I'm here on earth. It's to elevate others and to serve those that are grieving.
Well, it seems like you're doing a heck of a job. I mean, it's deep. I mean, the end of life doula, and that's got to be very difficult for you right now in this particular time because there are so many people that are dying alone.
Gosh. Oh my gosh, yes. Well, one of the things I'm working on is not only the YouTube channel, but Patreon and Kickstarter. I really, really want to move forward into the public eye and donate these scarves and ties and pillows. So that's my goal. Thank God I have Tobias and Company with our great Doors of Tuscany and, Knockers of Annapolis and such. And, these are actually available not only at Tobias and Company, but also at Local by Design on Main Street and in the mall. So I would invite folks to take a look at those. And if it appeals to them, it certainly would support my work and our work here.
And Local by Design is one of my favorite stores in Annapolis. I love it.
I love Local by Design. Oh, my God. Susan has really her heart and soul are right into that brick and mortar store. I tell you, she really goes the extra mile.
And I wouldn't even want to think about how much stuff she crams in that little tiny space. I mean, it's just something you can get. That's a store that you get lost in, and you could spend 2 hours in and still not see all the inventory. It's fabulous. If anybody doesn't know, it's down at the foot of Main Street, sort of just harbor side of O'Brien's, and it's a great store to go in and look around.
And it's actually a family. It's more like a Local by Design family. Mm-hmm. It's not just a place to put your stuff. It's more than that.
Right. Well, I'll tell you, Patti DiMicelli, people go look to embracetheangel.com. And that has a lot of the why of what she does. And I guess Tobias and Company is the engine that allows you to do what you do. Exactly.
Yes.
The product that you've got at Tobias and Company is fun. It's whimsical. It's neat. If you're looking for a gift for somebody that is a Naval Academy grad or somebody that has an affinity to Annapolis, and certainly there's other things as well. You've got the Knockers of Tuscany, I think, and some different things for your travels. But check out embracetheangel.com as well, and the free ebook. Find out the story behind Patti and her daughter Amber, and the key to heaven is a fabulous way to look at that, and to give you some peace, I would imagine.
It absolutely does. As human beings, we need to be connected and we need to touch. And so by providing silk, which is very much like human skin, I'm able to do that for folks. And I feel so honored and blessed. I really do, John.
Well, I feel honored to have spent a half hour talking with you, honestly. I mean, I've learned quite a lot. I admire you in any number of different ways for the work that you're doing, and the fact that you up and left it and bought a pickup truck and a fifth wheel and went to Florida. I mean, I think that's great.
That's so cool. Well, thank you. Hey, go to YouTube. You can see the inside and the outside, and it's kind of a nickel tour, but it's a lot of fun. I enjoyed it very much. So,
well, absolutely.
Yeah.
Embrace the Angel on YouTube, but embracetheangel.com and tobiasandcompany.com for some great local gifts. And if you want to touch it, feel it, squeeze it, just head on down to Local by Design at the bottom of Main Street or in the mall if you're kind of a mall person. So that's really neat that they've got 2 locations now, which I think is pretty fantastic. Patti, thank you very much. Please, when you're coming back to Annapolis in April, make sure you give me a call. I would love to meet you. I think we talked about meeting possibly at Wendy Winter's PR Bazaar several years ago. And I would love to reconnect and learn about all your trip to Florida and a little bit more about what you're doing, with you and your why. I think this is just absolutely fantastic. And I appreciate your time this afternoon. And I wish you a nice, sunny, warm rest of the winter.
Thank you so much, John. And hey, thanks so much for what you do for the folks of Annapolis and the, surrounding communities. You do a lot. You've done a lot through the years. So thank you so much. I feel completely honored that you invited me. Thanks.
Thanks for listening to this week's Local Business Spotlight. Please make sure to visit eyeonannapolis.net for all your local news, events, and opinion. And in case you haven't already, please subscribe to the Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief, where we bring you all the day's local news direct to your phone, tablet, or computer in about 10 minutes. It comes to you at 6 a.m. every Monday through Friday, and you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.